Tonight, on First at 9 this Friday the 29th of August 2025. Flurry of remands. Former Minister Rajitha Senaratne arrested and remanded until September 9th. Former State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksha and former parliamentarian Athuraliya Ratanathera remanded until September 12th. United in adversity. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe discharged from Colombo National Hospital. Opposition leader urges continued unity among opposition parties to protect democracy and counter government repression. Inflation. Sri Lanka's Colombo Consumer Price Index-based inflation increases to 1.2% in August.
Asian Paint Causeway Aquasave මිලදීගෙන LED TV run voucher ඇතුළු තවත් හැකි රසක් දිනා ගන්න.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, you're joining First at 9, brought to you by Sri Lanka's most trusted news source, Derana. I'm Tarindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. In your top story this evening, the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today ordered that former Minister Rajitha Senaratne be remanded until September 9th in connection with an ongoing corruption investigation led by the Bribery Commission. Meanwhile, former Member of Parliament Venerable Athuraliya Ratanathera has also been placed under remand custody until the 12th of next month over the alleged abduction and detention of the General Secretary of the Ape Janabala Party, Venerable Vadinigama Vimalathisatera, reportedly to secure the party's national list seat in the 2020 general election.
The case pertaining to the leasing of the Modara Fisheries Harbour, allegedly causing losses to the government, was taken up for hearing before the Colombo High Court. Former Minister Rajitha Senaratne was present in court for the session. During proceedings, the State Counsel representing the Bribery Commission alleged that Senaratne had been deliberately evading legal proceedings pending before the Colombo High Chief Magistrates Court and requested the High Court to revoke his bail in the matter at hand. Since conduct from a separate case cannot be used to cancel bail, the High Court judge ruled that the suspect be remanded and produced before the relevant court immediately. Accordingly, prison authorities took Rajitha Senaratne into custody and produced him before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Bodaragama. At the hearing, Assistant Director General of the Bribery Commission, Attorney-at-Law Sulochana Hettiarachchi, informed the court that Rajitha Senaratne, who served as the Minister of Fisheries during the time of the incident, has been named the second suspect in a case pertaining to a 26.2 million rupee loss to the state. The loss is linked to awarding the Kirinda Harbour sand extraction project to a Korean firm in 2012, allegedly without adhering to proper procurement procedure. She further emphasized that despite repeated efforts over 2 months, the suspect had not provided a statement and had actively avoided both the Bribery Commission and the courts. Citing concerns of the suspect's unwillingness to cooperate, the Bribery Commission requested that he be remanded in custody, expressing doubt about his likelihood of attending future proceedings. In response, President's Counsel Anuja Premaratne, representing former Minister Senaratne, argued that his client had not sought to evade justice but had lawfully pursued anticipatory bail. However, upon evaluating the facts, the court ruled that the suspect's actions did not reflect voluntary compliance with the ongoing investigations. The court found little assurance that Senaratne would appear in future proceedings and placed him under remand custody until the 9th of September. Meanwhile, in a separate case, former Minister of Parliament Venerable Athuraliya Ratanathera was remanded until September 12th after appearing before the Nugegoda Magistrates Court this afternoon. A warrant for his arrest had been issued on August 18th by the Colombo Magistrates Court following a submission made by the police requesting his arrest. The hearing was conducted in connection with investigations into the alleged abduction and detention of General Secretary of the Ape Janabala Party, Venerable Vadinigama Vimalathisatera, reportedly to secure the party's national list seat in the 2020 general election. In a separate development, the Negombo Chief Magistrate today ordered the remand of former State Minister Nimal Lanza and former Municipal Councillor Bandula Nautunna until September 12. The duo surrendered to Kochikade police earlier in the day in connection with the case under the firearms order ordinance stemming from a 2006 home invasion in the Negombo area. The incident involved the theft of property valued at approximately 2.8 million rupees and discharging firearms during the robbery. Chief Inspector Villora Aratri, presenting the B report, stated that 19 individuals had been identified as suspects. In the meantime, the Colombo Chief Magistrate today ordered the remand of former State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa until September 12th, following his arrest by the Bribery Commission on allegations of corruption. The court rejected an appeal from the former minister's legal team seeking his release on bail, affirming the seriousness of the charges and the need for continued custody.
රුපියල් 8900ක මාසික වාරිකයකට brand new TVS X100 යතුරු පැදියක් ගන්න.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe was discharged from Colombo National Hospital today and is now recovering at home under strict medical supervision. Meanwhile, a discussion between representatives of opposition political parties and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa took place this morning, where the opposition leader urged continued unity among opposition parties to protect democracy and counter government repression.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe has been discharged from the National Hospital Colombo after he was moved from the intensive care unit to a regular ward this morning. The former president's office stated that he remains at his residence and is under strict medical supervision. Prior to the discharge, SJB parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva arrived at the Colombo National Hospital to inquire about former President Wickremesinghe's well-being.
I came to visit former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, our former leader whom we respect and who brought me into politics. Hateful and spiteful politics are not suitable for a country. Broadening divisions in society instead of repairing them is unacceptable.
වැඩි කරන එක එච්චර හොඳ දෙයක් නෙමෙයි.
I, as the Deputy Minister, did not inquire about his illnesses because I will only inquire if there are necessary facilities in those wards. Inquiring about his illnesses is contrary to both medical ethics and the law. A Deputy Director of the hospital who does not oversee the former President's ward listed out the former President's illnesses to the media. We will take disciplinary action against individuals who make such statements. Even though he is a political rival, in this case he is a patient. It is the government's responsibility to safeguard patients' rights.
In the meantime, a discussion between representatives of opposition political parties and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa was held this morning at the opposition leader's office.
We should strongly continue this program because the objective of this mission is protecting democracy and halting political witch hunts. We strongly believe that we should lend our support to stop corruption and fraud in this country. That is our stance. Especially the government and parties affiliated with the government cannot espouse an aura of purity, claiming that the groups who support them do not steal and that those who do steal are on the other side. However, we are completely against repression. We must go on this joint journey with the office of the opposition leader as a focal point.
විභක්ෂයේ ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා ඔය දර්ජනය කරන එකටයි ඔය විභක්ෂයේ ඉන්න മന്ത്രിලාට ඕන නැති නඩුවක් දානගෙන අපි කොහොමද ඒක මුණ දෙන්නේ කියන කතා කරා. රනිල් මහත් එක්ක ඔක්කොම සෙට් එකේ දැන්නේ. එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය සමගි ජන බලවේගය කියන්නේ ඒකේ ඉන්න ජනතාව එකයි දෙකක් හිටියේ නෑ. අර වෙන් වෙලා හිටියා තමයි. දැන් එකතු වුණාම පොඩ රිදෙනවා එක් එක්කෙනාට. සන්දාන හදින කොහොමද? නෑ අපි සන්දානයක් හදන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නෑ. විපක්ෂයේ තියෙන සියලු දේශපාලන පක්ෂ එකතු වෙලා මේ මර්ධනයට මුණ දෙන්නේ කොහොමද සහ මේ රටේ ජනතාව මර්ධනය පිළිබඳ දැනුවත් කිරීම තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ දැන් ඉස්සරහට අභියෝගයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් දාන්නෝට. කොහොමත් ඉතින් දේශපාලනය කියන්නේ බලය ලබා ගැනීමනේ. ඒ සඳහා ගොඩක් අය එකතු වෙන්න තීරණය කළා තියෙනවා විපක්ෂයේ විදියට.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe says the central bank being able to prevent the collapse of the country's banking system was a major achievement which facilitated Sri Lanka's economic recovery. He made these remarks during his oration on the occasion of the 75th anniversary celebration of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka held today in Colombo. In commemoration of its 75th anniversary, the central bank also issued a 2,000 rupee commemorative currency note.
On the occasion of the 75th anniversary celebration of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka today, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe delivered a special oration titled Why Central Bank Independence Matters in Crisis, in Recovery and Beyond.
government and central bank implement a bold stabilization package, notably replacing the MLA with the new CBA, enshrined greater independence and accountability in the new legislation. However, since the CBA was enacted only in September 2023, most stabilizing measures had to be executed under the previous MLA. This underscores an important truth. Even under the MLA, stability could be assured when the central bank exercises its available independence with strong coordination and with fiscal authorities. Still under the MLA, the CBSL adopted an extensive array of measures to stabilize the economy from its dire straits since the onset of the crisis in early 2022. Monetary policy was tightened significantly in April 2022, following a substantial depreciation of the Sri Lankan rupee in March as the exchange rate was allowed as a measured adjustment. They brought inflation down from a peak of nearly 70% in September 2022 to single digits by mid-2023 within a very short period and maintained price stability since then. This inflation process has been hailed globally as one of the fastest in the recent history. Equally critical of safeguarding the financial system. At the height of the crisis, we know the bankers are here. Many predicted a banking collapse. Yet Sri Lanka avoided a systemic banking crisis. A remarkable achievement was this, avoiding a systemic crisis given the depth of the economic and debt turmoil. Had a banking crisis materialized, public deposits would have been at risk. People could have lost all their lifetime savings if that happened. Trust in the financial system shattered and the economic rebound severely compromised. But we were able to protect this even under the previous MLA. As these measures took hold, macroeconomic conditions improved steadily, supported by greater fiscal discipline and consolidation. Inflation fell sharply, the external sector stabilized. Central Bank worked tirelessly to restore public confidence through frequent communications. This commitment to openness anchored inflation expectations and stabilized market and stabilized the financial institutions, laying the foundation for recovery. But the enactment of CBA in 2023 marked landmark structural reform, significantly strengthening the independence of the CBSL to form a stream mandate. There are key provisions on independence and accountability. These are key provisions, mainly objects of central bank, monetary policy boards, fiscal monetary coordination, provision of monetary financing, monetary policy framework agreement, monetary policy report annual review, administration of financial autonomy, and also appointment process through proper checks and balances. These are important provisions that enshrine into the new Central Bank Act.
Meanwhile, Governor Dr. Veera Singha presented to President Anura Dissanayake the new commemorative 2,000 rupee currency note issued in commemoration of the Central Bank's 75th anniversary. It is the fifth commemorative currency note released by the Central Bank.
Meanwhile, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe was awarded a prestigious A grade in Global Finance's 2025 Central Bankers Report Card. This top-tier recognition places Dr. Veerasinghe among the elite central bank governors worldwide, acknowledging his exceptional leadership and strategic acumen in steering Sri Lanka's economy through turbulent times. The Central Bankers Report Card, published annually by Global Finance since 1994, grades the central bank governors of nearly 100 key countries, territories and districts, as well as the European Union, the Eastern Caribbean, Central Bank, the Bank of the Central African States and the Central Bank of West African States. The central banker governors earning an A+ grade in the Global Finance Central Bankers Report Card 2025 are from Denmark, the United States and Vietnam.
හොඳම ෆෝන් එකක් ගන්න. ළඟම අපාන්ස් එකට යන්න.
President Anura Dissanayake has instructed the Ministry of Education to prioritize streamlining the national school system and advancing curriculum reforms with the goal of providing quality education for every child. He issued these directives during a meeting today with officials from the Education Ministry, where he stressed the importance of modernizing the education sector to better meet the needs of students across the country.
The pre-budget discussion for the year 2026 related to the Ministry of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education was held today at the Presidential Secretariat under the patronage of President Anura Dissanayake. During the meeting, extensive attention was given to the ministry's future plans, with a particular focus on streamlining the national school system to ensure quality education for every child. President Dissanayake instructed education officials to prioritize comprehensive curriculum reform as a key step towards achieving this goal. He also called for a unified national vocational education strategy to replace scattered island-wide programs, tasking the Vocational Education Division with its development. Officials assured that GCE ordinary level and advanced level examinations will be held on schedule next year, and school textbooks and uniforms will be ready before the new term begins on January 5, 2026. Plans to improve university infrastructure and expand student accommodation were also discussed, along with efforts to modernize 50 vocational training centers and establish 9 centers of excellence from 2026 to 2030.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya asserts that the government is vested with the responsibility of preventing the spread and usage of drugs, not only apprehending and imprisoning users. She made this statement during an event in Colombo yesterday. Speaking at the same event, Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Sunil Watagala revealed that 52 individuals affected by the drug menace in Vanathamulla have agreed to undergo voluntary rehabilitation.
A discussion on the multi-sectoral drug prevention treatment and rehabilitation program was held with the participation of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya.
In the Colombo district, this crisis is most prevalent in areas such as Modara Mattakuliya, Dehiwala Mount Lavinia, Moratuwa and especially Badovita. We successfully concluded 2 missions in Vanathamulla. The missions were conducted with the intervention of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. We were able to identify 52 individuals willing to voluntarily pursue rehabilitation. Our next target is Badovita and discussions were held regarding the matter. Badovita was chosen as a result of discussions. This mission too will facilitate mediation for those willing to voluntarily pursue rehabilitation with the intervention of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. We will cover every division and make interventions at the grassroots level. 6 serious murders took place in the Dehiwala Mount Lavinia area. Follow-up investigations revealed the culprits of all 6 murders. The inability to conduct raids promptly was one minor failure.
This is the importance of multi-sectoral coordination. This is not a merely legal matter, but a social crisis, as you all know. The drug epidemic is one of the most serious facets of the social crisis in our country. This crisis does not only affect individuals, but also families and communities. This is why we need to pay close attention to this matter from every aspect. It is not only about imprisoning drug users. We have a greater part to play in terms of prevention. We have to change the environment which prompts the youth as well as adults to end up as users.
Welcome back. Sri Lanka's overall rate of inflation as measured by the Colombo Consumer Price Index on a year-on-year basis increased to 1.2% in August 2025 from minus 0.3% in July. As per latest data released by the Department of Census and Statistics, the CCPI for all items for the month of July was 193.3, a decrease of 0.8 index points compared to June. The year-on-year inflation of the food group increased to 2% in August 2025 from 1.5% in July, and the year-on-year inflation of the non-food group decreased to 0.8% this month from minus 1.2% in July. For the month of August 2025, on a year-on-year basis, the contribution to inflation from food commodities was 0.66%, while the contribution of non-food items was 0.51%. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's external sector performance further strengthened in July 2025, with the current account recording consecutive monthly surpluses thus far in 2025. Total exports, including merchandise and services, improved to $12 billion during the 7 months ending July 2025, recording a year-on-year growth of 6.7%. Meanwhile, tourism earnings were recorded at $2 billion during the period spanning January to July 2025, recording a slight increase compared to $1.9 billion in the corresponding period of last year. Workers' remittances amounted to $697 million in July 2025, recording the highest monthly workers' remittances since December 2020. Gross official reserves by the end of July 2025 remained broadly unchanged at $6.1 billion amidst debt servicing. In the meantime, as of the end of August 2025, the year-to-date depreciation of the Sri Lankan rupee against the US dollar was 3.3%. The Colombo Bourse closed in positive territory today as a result of price gains in counters such as Selinco Holdings, Dialog Asiata and Senkadagala Finance. The benchmark ASPI gained 197.10 points to close at 20,997.36, while the more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 gained 31.02 points to end the day at 6,076.79. Market turnover was 7.38 billion rupees. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net buyers, purchasing shares worth 184.1 million rupees. And with that, let's take a look at the day's foreign exchange rates. That's all for tonight from First at 9. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.